Welcome, my 21 subscribers, everyone this video is suggested to by the YouTube algorithm, and enhancement talent who lose during promos. Welcome to my review of AEW Rampage for the June 3rd edition. Let's begin. So the first match is the Young Bucks versus the Lucha Bros, and this is the closest thing we'll ever get to a Young Bucks homecoming or a home court match. Because according to their book, Rancho Cucamonga is like a small nothing sort of town. And yeah, it's nice to see the Young Bucks finally returning to California. And it's also nice to see them do it against the Lucha Bros because they've had great matches before. But this might be the last one of this kind of like a show stealer type match that I'll allow. It's as if I have some authority over this, but it's like they have this type of match all the time. The sort of indie-rific air shows. But I also know they can do these sort of storytelling, selling heavy, impactful matches as well. Because they did it back in New Japan against Roppongi Vice. They did it against Kenny and Kota. They did it against Kenny and Hangman. And even against FTR. But less so. And oh yeah, against the Hardys as well. And I've been watching a lot of Pro Wrestling Noah. And those guys there. Like especially the upper card dudes. Like the champs. The junior heavyweight tag champs. They just had a match where they weren't acting like a cohesive team. They didn't do any double team moves. But they managed to convey drama and had me on the edge of my seat like all match. And there was only like one high flyer in that match and he was grounded the entire match. Because of like a leg injury that one of the enemy team's members did on him. They just ruined the ending because of a run-in by a faction from another company who were plugging their shitty looking belts. And yeah, enough of that. I just want a team from AEW to replicate that style. It would be so unexpected, and we know these fans will appreciate that style also. Because right now, all I'm seeing from the AEW tag division is like a show stealer type match. Like only FTR are capable of like anything different. We legit need more variety in this tag team division. And by the way, I'm getting sidetracked, but not to put over Noah too much, because when they try this style of match, when they go for show stealers, or when the luchadors wrestle, minus Ninja Mac, it's less extravagant and there are more botches. But at least they try something different. And they are extremely solid in their like main style. So enough of that, let's get to the match itself. So judging it by what it's trying to do, and the type of match that it is, it's a show stealer. But having too many of these is bad, so that's why I said what I said a while ago. But as a show stealer type match, this was perfection. If you watched closely, they had zero botches the entire time. None of their landings or their moves looked wonky. They were all done as they were supposed to. And they hit how they were supposed to hit. It was like an action movie. But there was one that was too stupid and too indie for me. And yeah, that just goes to show how much chemistry these two teams have built like all these years. And that's why I should think they should change it up for the next one. Have a different style of like match. So yeah, that one move that I didn't like, that was too indie for me, was when Penta had Phoenix in an electric chair position and then Nick Jackson like drop kicked Phoenix, and this caused a chain reaction in where Phoenix poison rana'd Penta. It's just like that one with Buddy Matthews and Malachi Black. That was pretty dumb. So now for the top 3 spots of the match. Number 3 has to be the outside dive by Rey Fenix on Nick Jackson. Phoenix crashed so hard on Nick, as well as the guardrail behind them, that it like pushed it back. And he almost like took someone's head off with a boot. So yeah, so this was number 3. Number 2 is this sort of weird human centipede sort of chain of submissions between all four of them, like facing the hard cam. And number one is the Superfly by Ray Fenix from the shoulders of his brother while sitting on the top turnbuckle. So this was like an extra high Superfly. This was already insane in itself, but this was followed by like a Canadian Destroyer by Penta on Matt Jackson just to like put the icing on the cake. And as for the finish, I'm kind of done with these types of finishes where the heel team pulls the mask off. Like, why not just do that from the start? And as for the luchador, why not just like put some extra straps, put on some like extra security to keep the mask on harder to like prevent this from happening, because that's like an overdone finish, I think. And it's like a guaranteed win for the heel team. I don't want to see this finish ever again. But I like how Excalibur pointed out that in Mexico, this is a disqualification. Because he's a luchador himself. Like, he has a mask on all the time. So yeah, the finish is Matt Jackson pulls Penta's mask off, effectively eliminating him, like negating him completely. Followed by a super kick for good measure. And then they do the BTE trigger on Ray Fenix. And Matt gets the win. So he pulls the mask off and he gets the pin. Finally, some shine for Matt Jackson, because usually Nick gets the pin. He's the more high-flying like member of the Young Bucks. So yeah, it's nice to see Matt get some shine for a change. So this match was a great opener. It was a great show stealer. But I hope this is the last one of these for a while. Like, especially between these two teams, because it's getting kind of samey. It's getting repetitive. And if you have like one more of these, I'm just going to tune out. So yeah. Great match. This is match of the night. So after this is the Ricky Starks and Powerhouse Hobbs squash. Like, literally, this was a fucking squash, because they have this like promo. Like, they went picture in picture with a promo by like Team Taz, where they just did like a hype up promo and such, saying that their quest for the tag team titles is not over. And they're both really good. Like, Ricky Starks, we know, is really good. But Powerhouse Hobbs, surprisingly, they never let this guy talk on the mic. But here, he's fucking capable. And maybe more than that. But the match itself, like, this whole thing, this whole from the entrance to the end of the match, like, until it went black and changed segment, was only 2 minutes. And the match itself was 45 seconds from the ringing of the bell to the third count. And the promo was like 21 seconds, and after the promo was over, the match ended. Like, when picture in picture ended, match done. Jesus Christ. Poor enhancement talent. They didn't even get like the proper TV time. So the finish was basically a spine buster by Powerhouse Hobbs, and when one of the enhancement talent was trying to break the pin up, Starks just speared him, and then the match ends. So this was a nothing match, but really funny. And I think it belonged right where it is. On the undercard of the secondary show. On a Rampage. So yeah. Next. Next is Athena versus Kiera Hogan. She's number 2 next to Ruby Soho when it comes to selling, because this woman just sells. With Ruby, it sounds like she's gonna die every time like a strong move is done to her. But with Athena, she sells like with Shawn Michaels level exaggeration, because it's funny. She just bounces all over the place. It's kind of like Kaz, but more like Shawn Michaels. She also executes her offense without stumbling, because even the champions, Thunder Rosa and Jade Cargill, stumble a lot. As well as Toni Storm. Especially in that match against Britt Baker, they fucking stumbled a lot. And as for Kiera Hogan, she's a lot better than Jade Cargill and Anna Jay. It's like she's a Divas wrestler that's improving. But not there yet, but I'm seeing some promise. She still stumbles a lot. She is like working on like like slow motion. But not like Anna Jay and Jade Cargill, where like they're moving in molasses. It's like super slow motion. And there's this one part where she almost fails to roll for when she was rolled up by Athena. It's almost like she almost spiked herself. But yeah, I mean, it doesn't look that bad. I liked her sell of the spot of the match, which is the drop kick. But it's so well executed by Athena that it kind of makes me think that the drop kick itself pushed Kiera Hogan over because this was a hard drop kick. Like it looked like Athena like recoiled in midair in order to get that force off. But yeah, as for the match, I don't think Kiera deserved like to dominate most of the match. Like based on their performances, Athena was like leagues better than this woman. This match should have been a bit shorter. Athena should have been more dominant because this is a lackey of the champion. This sort of hurts her claim for the TBS title. But yeah, the finish is Athena hits her Eclipse and Kiera doesn't sell it the best, but it's okay. And this belonged where it was placed. It's an undercard to a TV show kind of match. And yeah, they're sort of featuring the baddies too much. If you actually rank the baddies based on in-ring, it's like Red Velvet's the best, Kiera's second, and Jade's the worst. Shit. And as for promos, Jade's not even the best. She's like second to Red Velvet. God damn it. Why the fuck is this woman being featured more than the women's champion? I mean, even if Thunder Rosa isn't the best like promo, she actually made a bad impression with that one promo on Dynamite. She's the women's champion and you need to give her reps. Or just have her wrestle matches because that's what she is good at. And she's like arguably one of the best women in the ring. And if you listen to them, they're sort of on the same level when it comes to English promos. But Jade is just being given more padding, she's given more stuff. Like the baddies gimmick, the outfits, the managers. It's just like she's being given more opportunities just because of her looks and her crossover potential. Hello, WWE. And yeah, about that. Jade has a higher risk of leaving for the WWE or Hollywood. And Thunder looks like she actually wants to be there. And there's like no chance of her being signed by the WWE. And Tony Khan, you're running a wrestling company. Not sports entertainment, not bodybuilding, not modeling. You are running a wrestling company. And even Nyla Rose, Riho, and Hikaru Shida, the originals, aren't being featured as much anymore. Tony, cut the shit. So after this is a God knows where location promo by the House of Black. These guys just knock it out of the park every week. Malachi Black is such a great fucking promo. He's like Sauron. He is the Dark Lord in AEW who should be champion or something, or like who should be dominating the entire division and not getting beaten up in like trios matches. So this promo is basically them showing off their newest member, Julia Hart, who isn't bad on the mic herself. It's just kind of weird that she doesn't have the face paint on, or like at least a mask. Because like all of them like have the face paint, have the mask, while she like is just like plain old Julia Hart. So yeah, go get with the program or something. But this whole thing here was awesome. Great promo, great presentation, best non-match of the entire night. So after this is the CM Punk injury announcement. So he's injured his foot or ankle because of how he landed, even if God did strike his knees. But yeah, he tried to do like springboard lariats that failed. I think it's the 2 buckshots at the pay-per-view as well as the springboard clothesline at Dynamite. So the man should stop doing these moves. But basically, it's CM Punk. He's great on the mic. He knows how to make people feel, just like MJF. He like cries all over the place. He also makes the audience feel the same way. But he fails to explain what the solution is, which I think they talked about in the back. He should have been the one to say the stipulation. Because like what he said was basically just he doesn't want to hold the division up, and he just like says a bunch of names of like a bunch of ex-WWE guys who thinks he could be champion. And yeah, whoever becomes interim champion is losing to CM Punk. But this is what he should have said. This is the plans, the emergency plans for the situation. So basically, there's going to be a battle royale to open Dynamite next week. And then the winner of the battle royale will face Jon Moxley at the main event of Dynamite to like have a shot at the interim title at the Forbidden Door against the winner of another match at New Japan Pro Wrestling's Dominion, which is a nice way to shine a spotlight on New Japan. But Tanahashi's going to win that. It's going to be Tanahashi versus Goto, and we all know who's going to win that. And then the interim champion will be crowned at Forbidden Door. Then after that, when CM Punk comes back, he's going to face the winner of that match. Fuck, that was confusing, but yeah, it's probably going to be Jon Moxley or Wardlow, who knows, but yeah, probably Jon Moxley's going to win everything. He's going to be the interim champ, and then he's going to face CM Punk. But I hope not. I hope Tanahashi becomes interim champ. So he'll still have a match with CM Punk, like at the end of the road. Come on, let's not have the predictable shit happen. Or, have Moxley's opponent go over and beat Tanahashi. But it has to be someone also famous there in New Japan. Like someone who's featured there. So Punk is going to be out for like weeks or like 1 to 2 months. It does sound like a short-term injury, but I don't know. Great but uninformative promo. So yeah, next. So after this is the customary pre-match promo mediated by Mark Henry. So this is basically everyone from Top Flight and everyone from Men of the Year talking. And you know what? Dante isn't bad here. He's a whole lot better than he was on Dynamite. But Matt Sydal actually, like, he's really good at promos. And as for the other side, Scorp is intense. This guy rightfully is the TNT champion. Ethan Page is just as good. But Dan Lambert, if he just watches what he says, is like a top talker in the entire company. Well, it looked like there's been enough talk. It's time for the main event! Okay, so the main event is for the TNT Championship. Scorpio Sky defends his title against Dante Martin. And you know what? Dante Martin's matches have all been like the same. Basically like him being a high flyer all match. And just things looking too choreographed. Like in the match with Phoenix. And somewhat in the match against Page. But here, holy shit, they have like a grounded, slow wrestling match to start. But near the end, he tries to close out the match with his high-flying stuff. But then he fails because Scorp is just like that good. I like how they made this dramatic. Like, there was tension in this match. It felt like anything could happen, even if, like, this is Dante Martin. There's no way he's gonna win, but they made it feel like he can win. But I don't appreciate the cheating done by the Men of the Year because, like, Scorp should be like definitively stronger than Dante, like in power levels. And yeah, I love the heel work because Scorp is from California, and like the crowd chant SCU, but he just like rejects them. Dante also didn't have any botches as well as Sky, but in high flyers it happens more often. But here, like, it doesn't. Probably because he toned it down and he didn't try too hard. I mean, not everyone can be the Young Bucks or the Lucha Brothers who can just, like, go all out and not botch anything. So, yeah. So, no botches. And the spot of the match, actually, I have two for two different reasons. One is the most visually impressive spot of the match is Dante's outside dive. He got so much air on that one, and he landed on his feet, and he could have broken his ankles, but he didn't. He has stronger ankles than CM Punk. And then as for the most dramatic spot of the match, it's definitely when Men of the Year tried to cheat. Like, this was a well-coordinated strategy of cheating. But it proved useless when Scorp got Dante on, like, the TKO position, and Dante countered and then hit Scorp with his own finisher, like the TKO. By Dante on Scorp. And this got a near fall and, yeah, best dramatic moment of the match. The finish is, I don't know what this is called, but Scorp throws Dante like neck first on the ropes. This gets Dante groggy, and then Scorp hits his TKO and then pins him in like a sluggish sort of way that the commentators point out. So yeah, this was an awesome TV main event. It's placed right where it should be. I don't know if this would work on a pay-per-view, but this is like an awesome TV main event. Okay, so all in all, this was like the quintessential TV wrestling show because they didn't try too hard. There wasn't like bangers all over the card like we've been having the past couple of weeks. So those matches should have been on pay-per-views, but this one, every one of these matches, including the first, fit right on TV. And it's not wasting the bump count these guys have for the remainder of their careers. Like, they're actually saving the better matches on the pay-per-view. And this is including the first one, because that was incredible. But that's the Young Bucks and the Lucha Bros. They can like have this sort of match in their sleep and it won't even affect them. So yeah, so that's my review. And these are my rankings for the matches. Number 1 is, of course, the opener. Second is the main event. And third is the women's match, sadly. So yeah, so that's the end of the video. Like, comment, and subscribe for engagement. Share if you don't know me. Hit that bell notification for future videos. And please, watch my shit. Bye-bye.